This appropriations matchup is going to hit you like a thud. Transportation, housing, and urban development is on deck. So let's get into it. As always, we examine appropriations based on the president's budget request, what the Senate is doing in the left column, and then what the House is doing in the right column. There are two main titles in this bill: transportation and housing and urban development. I'm going to do top lines and then a few details underneath. It is a big bill, so you're going to have to go in and read it in the resources that I'm going to provide in the Substack article accompanying this video. First, transportation. So in FY25, we had about $25.2 billion in this cabinet department. The president actually asked for an increase of about 6% at $26.7 billion. The Senate pretty much met him there. The House decided we needed about $4 billion-ish in cuts from the president's request and about $5 billion from the FY25 appropriations. One of the main cuts they made was in capital investment. So this is for like public transit investment, capital projects, building things is what capital refers to. The president had actually asked for $2.2 billion. The Senate mostly met him at $1.9 billion. The House took this to $53 million, as in like basically gutting all capital investment. So we don't like that very much at all. Next title, housing and urban development. This is a big one. There was a lot of slashing and burning. So the president first was just saying, I want about 43% less from the $77 billion that was enacted in FY25. The House didn't quite meet him there, but they still did a significant cut at about $68 billion. The Senate was like, nah, fam. They did some cutting, but not nearly as much, and landed at $73.3 billion, again, compared to $77 billion in FY25. Where were some of the major, most dramatic cuts in the House/President situation? One was in housing counseling. This is only a $57 million program, and the Senate was like, we're keeping it, even though the president and the House said we're going to get rid of it entirely. Then there's money for public housing. So this is housing that is built and managed directly by the government. Again, the president said, we're going to eliminate this, talking about states' rights and how states need to enact their own programs. The House didn't quite get rid of it. They said $7.3 billion, but it was still a pretty dramatic decrease. The Senate was like, no, we're going to keep this at $8.3 billion. Thanks so much. It's still less than what is ideally needed based on the latest statistics and research, but it's better than getting rid of it entirely. Vouchers. This is a big one. So these are Section 8 vouchers. So tenant-based assistance, meaning you get your housing from like private owners and landlords, but the government provides vouchers to help with rent. Again, the president was like, let's just get rid of it because the states are going to take care of it. This was a program that was at $36 billion in FY25, FYI. The House didn't cut too much, $35.2 billion on their side. The Senate actually increased Section 8 by $37.3 billion. So the Senate, as always, is the clear winner for we the people. It's not perfect, but it's definitely what we would prefer to all this other stuff going on. There were a lot of other cuts, including housing for people with disabilities and for the elderly, that I wasn't able to detail here based on the president and House's version. The Senate, again, far superior. So if this thing does manage to make its way through the congressional processes to become a law, we want the Senate version whenever possible. So call your reps and tell them that you demand the Senate THUD bill. As always, have fun being a menace.